Hey everyone, welcome back to channel. Today we are embarking on an exploration of a truly captivating literary work, Kazuo Ishigaro's The Remains of the Day. This isn't just a story, it's an examination of choices, identity, and the search for meaning in our own lives, a topic I believe resonates with us all. So, let's dive deep into this masterpiece and see what wisdom it has to offer. Should we choose a safe life with little change, or rush into an uncertain future? Strive for your ideals and career. This is the biggest living dilemma that all humans are born with. As early as 1989, a classic novel called The Remains of the Day gave us the answer. The Remains of the Day with the English title, The Remains of the Day is a masterpiece by the British writer, Kazuo Ishiguro. Kazuo Ishiguro, who won the 2017 Nobel Prize in Literature and the 1989 Booker Prize, and whose novel was later made into a film that won multiple Oscar nominations, is the memoir of a man who spent his entire life striving for his career ideal to become a great butler. He did very well and succeeded, but in the end, in the waning days left him wondering what he really had all this time. This story is not complicated, but it evokes a great emotional power that compels you and me to review our own lives, to question ourselves with questions like, what exactly are we living for? Who am I? Who am I striving all my life to become? What is the status our profession will bring us, freedom or making us leave our true selves? Hi everyone! Welcome back to Better Version, the channel for sharing self-development knowledge through great books. This week, I'd like to share with you a topic called Removing the Chains of Society for a Lifetime, through the masterpiece, The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. Identity is the label of a person, and also the chains of a life. The main character, Stevens, whose father was a butler from the prosperous period of Darlington Mansion in England, followed his father's example. From a young age, Stepp set a goal to become a great butler. For 30 years, he always strived for that and tied his life to Darlington Manor. For Stevens, his life at Darlington Manor is all about work, and constant work. The story begins when the manor is transferred for the new owner to come from America, and Stepp stayed to continue serving. However, the new owner, Faraday, did not pay attention to details and liked to joke, making the usually serious Stepp confused. Faraday wanted to go to America for a while, so he suggested Stepp driving out for a few days to relax. Being given a rest, Stepp thought that the master could not take the initiative to give the servant leave. It took him 2 weeks of teasing before he agreed to this suggestion. It's strange. Why do you hesitate so much? It's because in Stepp, you always desire to do everything to maintain your status as a great butler. This status has always haunted you. It's the label of a person, but is also the shackles of a lifetime. Why do we say that? Let's start by understanding the meaning of time and space for our professional status. People often only perceive real events in a certain spatial and temporal framework, then imagines a specific social role and puts on the cloak of status similar to the status that will help each individual to have a stable social status and sense of belonging, but it also limits our own individual behavior. Like Stepp, he worked in Darlington Mansion, a fixed space for a long time, more than 30 years. He only had 2 things that stood out in his life. One was providing satisfactory service to visiting ladies and gentlemen, and the other was fiercely debating professional greatness with the guests' waiters or butlers. One would think that a person who devotes himself to his work with a steadfast ideal in his heart is not precious, but in fact it is just an illusion of status created by himself, in our limited and fixed living space. There is a truth that we all have to work to live and force ourselves to step onto the path of asserting our identity like, I am the director, I am an investor, I am a doctor, I am a teacher. We often answer like that when asked who you are. Everyone living in this world has another identity besides themselves. Our identity comes from our profession, and we have assigned a lot of meaning to that title and label. When a person has an identity, then everything that person says and does revolves around that identity. In Stevens, the belief about the identity, I am a great butler, is very firm. The stronger the belief, the more it will motivate him to try to make everything from his words, behavior, dress, to interactions with others befitting the dignity of a great butler. That is to maintain the image of a gentleman who can always maintain his career even in cases where those things go against his true feelings. In order to always succeed in his work, he must restrain his true emotional world, suppress natural desires, turn himself into a machine with no spiritual needs. In his heart, emotions are like moths that erode the dignity of a great butler. The great man even has a feeling of disgust towards beautiful girls and always avoids his true love with the girl Kenton. Even when Kenton tells him that she is about to get married and tried to convince him to join her, Stephen still only responded coldly and congratulated her. Kenton cried and got married in disappointment. Not only personal feelings, but also for family love, Stepp also tried to live to avoid being distanced from his true self. After his father was injured and unable to continue his duties as butler, Stepp kept a cool head and told him that he was no longer fit to be a butler. The relationship with his father until the end was always cold like that. On the day father was about to pass away, a big conference was held in the mansion. As a butler, Stepp chose the job. Even after hearing the news of the critical state of his father, when he finished his work his father had also passed away. While wandering outside, he met his old master who asked if he was okay, but Stepp still pretended to be calm. I'm fine, sir." What's even more puzzling is that after more than 30 years, after remembering the experiences and his father's death, faced with the cold feelings of himself, he still feels no remorse, but also considers it a reflection of his career achievement that he has learned to control his emotions very well. He is thankful for overcoming the challenge and demonstrating the qualities of a great manager. It's scary that there are people who go through half of their lives without knowing that they are living in the illusion of their own status. A successful career, a high status, achieving everything, but leaving that behind, what are we left with? Have we really lived? Once people are limited by the idea that their job is their identity, they will find it difficult to realize who they really are. Your identity does not depend on your job, your position, your achievements, or your assets, your debts, your salary. You are an individual, and more than that, you are a child, a father, a mother, a sister, a brother, a companion, a friend, a creator, a contributor, a devotee. If one has too strong a sense of professional identity, if one cares too much, if one desires too much and neglects oneself, then status will become a chain that binds instead of giving life strength. The life of a seemingly industrious and diligent Stepp, but because he was bound by status, he eventually lost his family relationship, lost love and got nothing after half a lifetime. A career was achieved, but life was wasted, a life of losing himself, and in the end it will still be a tragedy. When trying to be someone is also when you lose freedom. Why do we always crave to have an identity and become someone? It's because you always have a fear inside you. You are afraid that you cannot have a good job. You are afraid that your boss will criticize you. You fear not conforming to traditional standards. You fear the eyes of others. You fear not doing the right thing. But true freedom is a state of mind in which there is no fear of coercion and lying to yourself as well as not pursuing security. Most people want to be secure, want others to praise us, that we are wonderful, talented, beautiful, smart, great, etc. If we don't like these things, we will not cling to that title or label. We believe that the more solid our professional status will be, the more confident and important we will feel. Krishnamurti once said, "Right when we want to be someone, we lose our freedom." Only those who realize the absurdity of this reality, their souls are pure and therefore not driven by the desire to be someone, those are the free people. How to escape the chains of identity? Reading this novel will tell us that if the current fixed space limits you, then allow yourself to set foot into a new space. From closed space to vast mountains and forests, a chance to find yourself. Instead of saying that Stepp's 6-day trip to the west of England is for relaxation, it's more accurate to say that this is the opportunity for him to escape the prisoner status that his ego had initially formed. Only by going outside the physical space of Darlington Mansion, which represented the dignity of a lifetime of pursuit by the English gentleman, representing the glory of the past, to step into a new vast natural space that can help Stepp reflect on himself and discover the true meaning of one's own existence. On the first day of his journey, Stepp met an old man with white hair. He said as long as the limbs and chest are still strong, it is best to climb to the top of the mountain to see. Stepp obeyed and climbed the steep mountain. In that high place, what spread out before him was a beautiful countryside view that stretched for miles, fresh air, the vast scenery. For a moment, it seemed the real fear in him dissolved. At this moment of transition in time and space, Stepp had the opportunity to expand his inner world. Allowing himself to step into another space, not only to let himself go in the silence, bringing our souls back to a pure state amidst the vast nature, but also so that you can come into contact with people of different statuses. Step out to meet and interact with the world. It is also how we review ourselves. For a person with the status of a butler in the upper class, the people he comes into contact with regularly are either gentlemen or ladies, or servants or another butler, but deep down in Stepp's soul, he can neither climb to the upper class, nor can he mingle with the lower class servants. The only thing he can do is supervise the other servants and make sure all the work in the mansion went on normally. So, over time, the attitude and behavior towards this type of person within this space gradually became his nature. He always kept a sufficient distance to cover his true feelings from others. However, when leaving his familiar Darlington residence, to go into the vast nature, a place filled with the rustic flavor of the local people, the behavior and attitudes of the natives created a strong contrast with the behavior and attitudes that had long been formed in Stepp. This stimulated him to get in touch with his inner self, awakening acceptance and self-reflection. Also on this trip, his inherent beliefs also have the opportunity to be reconsidered. From the trip, Stepp heard negative reviews from outside about Lord Darlington, who was the spiritual monument of greatness in him, who made him try to maintain the solemnity of a butler, now like a dam gradually collapsing. The pretense made Stepp really understand that the values of a gentleman, represented by Lord Darlington, whom he always respected, and even the values of the whole of England at that time in general, were just an illusory decay that was stifling human nature. At the end of the story, Stepp took the most important moment to meet the girl Kenton for the last time. From the bottom of his heart, he felt the real purpose of this trip was to find the woman he loved. This was the first time he did something following his heart, and not his professional requirements. He began to talk frankly with her, paying attention to her feelings and trying to invite her back to the mansion. Even after hearing her refusal, only wanting to stabilize her current situation with her husband, Stepp still tried to continue one more time. He now was not a Stepp who only saw his status, so he could not bear to leave her, and also did not want to turn himself into a body without emotions or soul. And in that strange space, when he sat alone on the beach, the meeting with the man of the same age once again made him ponder about the rest of his life. In fact, the dignity that he was proud of all his life was just blind obedience and self-deception. He missed love, missed family relationships. The struggle, day and night, working to complete the task, was truly meaningless. Regret and sadness. In the end, what is left of the day? Many of us are no different from the character Stephen, who struggled all his life and finally realized that there was nothing of meaning. In fact, many people find the meaning of life from the work they are doing, but the identity of becoming someone will be a shackle when you have to struggle, have to disguise yourself, have to disregard everything, ignore your true feelings, in order to succeed in that job. It is very difficult for us to realize our self-deception if we keep our feet locked in a fixed space. Sometimes, allow yourself the opportunity to step into another space, set foot in a sky that is farther, higher, wider, and escape from inherent beliefs. Only in the process of emotional exchange with strangers in another space can we truly have the opportunity to know ourselves and whether we are on the right path. For me, traveling is one of the ways to help me do this. But now, many people understand the true meaning of travel. True travel is not about going to a place with beautiful scenery, taking a few pictures, eating at a delicious restaurant, staying in a room with a beautiful view. Travel is not about enjoying life, finding the best service and making the place as comfortable as at your own home. Travel is exactly what allows you to go beyond the comfort of an old space, step into a new space, experience yourself, challenge your old self, and restructure your true self. That is the true meaning of travel. However, not just going to a new place can completely remove the shackles of status. If you make traveling a goal, then you are taking on another identity. Moving to a new place to work in a different space is the same. If you still do not notice the self-deception in yourself, you will still be limited in that other space with another identity. A writer once said that consciousness is the true existence. Like Stepp, only when he was conscious that regardless of one's status, from beginning to end, one should try to turn inward to peel off each layer of false pretenses in their mind that he could escape the shackles of identity. Life allowing you to escape from the old space is an opportunity to find yourself. But whether you really have freedom or not, that depends on consciousness, the consciousness to want to achieve your own freedom. The day is about to end, better to hold on and capture the present moment. This is a story not only for you to reflect on your professional status but also to reshape your attitude towards the regrets in your life. We always have to face a lot of choices. Some people choose the serenity of the night but regret not being able to keep the light of the day. Some people choose to go to a remote landscape but when they have to leave their comfort zone, suddenly feel fear. How many people dedicate their whole life to their career and then realize it has no meaning? Like the character step, after crossing mountains and rivers to taste all the flavors of life, they suddenly realize that the things that at first seemed most important are not necessarily essential. We can also suddenly discover that the beliefs we have been obsessed with, the dreams we have devoted our lives to pursuing, in the end are just a joke. Maybe in your life and mine, there are some problems that cannot be solved, some mistakes that cannot be undone, and some people who are destined to be apart. Faced with such situations, the only thing we can do is make peace with the past and give the best to the present so that the river can continue to flow. View what you have lost as a practice, view what is stuck in you as a beautiful adventure. Only then will you allow yourself to move on and get closer to the true meaning that you are looking for. Finally, back to the question at the beginning, should we choose a safe life with little change or rush into an uncertain future, fighting with all our might for our ideals and careers? Have you found your answer yet? Knowing that living in this world, we can't help but work to survive and have a professional status, then instead of just limiting ourselves to the status of boss, a manager etc. and judging success through the measure of the material world, of power, fame with the traditional standards of our society, let us actively give our identity a higher meaning. That could be a guide, a contributor, a devotee, a minimalist, a loving person, etc. Let your identity be a halo. When the meaning of life is sublimated, you will no longer be bound by your status, you will not only look out for benefits, you will no longer be lazy, you will not be stuck in the same place and also not just want to keep your comfort zone, you will not be crazy about pursuing being successful, famous, or great. You will live more truthfully and in harmony with your own destiny and karma. I hope we can all periodically escape from our current limited space, allowing ourselves to stand in a higher and wider place to examine ourselves and see if there is anything chaining our feet and binding our hearts so that one day when facing the question of who you are, you will know immediately that you are a halo. Come here and give the light to the world. Thank you for listening. If you found this video insightful, please give it a like and share it with anyone who might benefit from it. And, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Better Version channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our latest content. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.